Pope Leo XIII, who was Pope from 1878 to 1903, wrote, "No life except the life of Jesus Christ has moved me as deeply as that of Peter Claver," whose feast we just celebrated several days ago. Peter Claver is not one of the better known saints, but he is one of the greatest saints the church ever had. He was born in Spain, and he had a wonderful mind. He became a Jesuit, and he was destined for a brilliant teaching career. But he volunteered for duty in the West Indies. So in 1610, he went to Colombia, South America, to the place of Cartagena, which was the center of the slave trade back then in the United States. In spite of the condemnation of several popes, slave trade flourished, and Cartagena was a main staging point for new slaves arriving from Africa. And they arrived in horrible conditions, chained to the bottom of the ship without any clothes whatsoever. They were diseased and they lived in their own mess. There, St. Peter Claver met them. He met the boats and he ministered to their bodily needs. He taught them and baptized them. And he preached at the city gates. He also preached to the sailors and the leaders. He called himself the slave of the slaves, and the church refers to him as the apostle of the slaves. His approach was very basic. He said, we must speak to them with our hands before we try to speak to them with our lips. In other words, he bathed their wounds, he warmed them up from the cold, dank holds of the ship, and gave them food to eat. It's estimated that in his 40 years of ministering to these slaves from Africa, that he baptized 300,000. The apostle to the slaves, St. Peter Claver, whose feast we celebrated on September the 9th. This Sunday, our Archbishop, William Laurie, is going to be celebrating Mass at St. Peter Claver Church in Baltimore, and he's going to be talking about our problems with the racism in our country. It's going to be at 10 o'clock. It's going to be televised. I encourage you all to tune in and listen to Archbishop William Laurie at St. Peter Claver.